Welcome to the shadowed depths of Glacier National Park, where the wilderness holds secrets that defy explanation. I am the Forbidden Excavation, your guide into a realm where the ordinary veneer of nature peels back to reveal a chilling abyss. For 35 years, I served as a forest ranger, my life etched into the leather-bound journals that now sprawl across the worn desk of my small cabin. A sanctuary nestled within the park's embrace since my earliest days in 1987. The oldest journal, its cover cracked and faded from decades in my backpack, bears the meticulous script of a younger me, logging trail conditions, wildlife sightings, and visitor interactions with a precision that once defined my world. Today, as I face retirement with my last official day looming on September 15, 2022, just 3 weeks away, I confront a hollow ache in my chest. The cabin creaks under a gust of wind, its wooden walls trembling as pine trees sway darkly against the evening sky outside my window. The scent of wood smoke from my fireplace mingles with the rich aroma of coffee in my mug, grounding me as I prepare to unburden myself. Retirement papers, signed and stacked neatly in the corner, mark the end of an era, but I cannot leave without recording the truths I've buried for decades. Truths not meant for public eyes, but for the rangers who will inherit this haunted land, especially Kelly, my successor. With a fresh, leather-bound notebook gifted by the staff, its blank pages a stark invitation, I begin to write, not of the mundane rescues and safety talks, but of the inexplicable horrors that have haunted my nights and shaped my soul. When I first donned the ranger uniform, I believed I understood the wilderness's dangers. Bears lumbering through the underbrush, sudden storms rolling down the mountains, hypothermia creeping into careless hikers, and the folly of tourists more enamored with selfies than survival. These were the threats etched into the Park Service manual, the enemies I was trained to conquer. My early years blurred into a rhythm of extracting lost campers from ravines, bandaging sprained ankles, and delivering wildlife safety lectures to audiences more interested in snapping photos of grizzlies than heeding my warnings. Yet, a photograph on my bookshelf tells a different story. A faded image of 5 smiling rangers, arms linked, standing before the St. Mary Visitor Center. Greg Mills, our supervisor, anchors the center, his weathered face creased with laugh lines belying a serious gaze. Beside him stands Nate Harris, my patrol partner for most of my career, his auburn hair tousled by the wind. I linger on the edge, a young man radiating confidence I no longer recognize. On my first day, Greg took me to the overlook above Lake McDonald, its still waters mirroring the surrounding mountains in a serene tableau. The Park Service manual covers most of what you need to know, he said, his eyes fixed on the distant shore. But there are things about this wilderness that aren't in any handbook. I waited for elaboration, but he fell silent, his stare unyielding. Keep your radio on at all times, he finally added. Some areas of the park feel wrong. Trust that feeling. Don't investigate alone. And if you see something that doesn't make sense, walk the other way. I laughed, dismissing it as an initiation prank for the new guy. I'm serious, Walker, he said, his gaze piercing me for the first time. Respect the wilderness, not just for the dangers you can name, but for those you can't. I nodded to humor him, a rookie's arrogance blinding me to the wisdom in his words. 3 years later, that arrogance shattered, and I stopped laughing at Greg's cryptic warnings. With a sip of cooling coffee, I opened the new notebook, the date scrawled at the top a threshold I cannot uncross. Once these incidents are committed to paper, there's no turning back. People will read these accounts and deem me mad, dismissing 35 years of service as the ramblings of a man unhinged by solitude. But these records aren't for the public. They're a legacy for the rangers who follow, a shield for Kelly against the terrors I've faced. I title the first account, The Strange Man in the Woods, August 1993. The memory crashes over me like a wave, vivid and unrelenting. The Mitchell family huddled around their campfire, the wife's hands trembling as she recounted a figure watching from the trees. When Nate and I confronted him, his movements were unnatural, a jerky marionette dance that sent a shiver through my core. The first time I felt that off sensation Greg had warned me about, a visceral certainty that I was witnessing something that shouldn't exist. The words flow easier than I expected, each detail etched with precision. The spot near Lake McDonald, the midnight hour, the figure's erratic jerks, the speed of his retreat into the forest. I record how our tracking dogs refused to follow his scent, whining and backing away, and how 5 days of searching yielded nothing. No footprints, no broken branches, no trace. As I write, other memories surface. The bizarre staircase Nate discovered in 1995, Emma Clark's drowning in knee-deep water, the fog that disoriented hikers into endless loops. Each incident erodes my ability to rationalize, the park's far corners pulsing with a wrongness I can no longer deny. Outside, darkness cloaks the world, and I switch on my desk lamp, its small pool of light a fragile bastion against the cabin's shadowed corners. It's nearly midnight, hours lost to the flood of memory, my cold coffee forgotten as I press on. This is just the beginning. I must document every encounter, sparing no detail. The wind strengthens, rattling the windows, a branch scraping the cabin's side. Once, such noises might have startled me, but now they're the familiar heartbeat of my home. I finish the Mitchell account, noting how they fled that night, too terrified to stay their planned week, their car's taillights vanishing down the park road. Reading my words, I realize the facts are clear, but they cannot capture the thick, oppressive air when the figure appeared, the forest's sudden silence, the ancient danger lurking just beyond perception. I close the notebook. One story down, many more to go. Tomorrow, I'll tackle the next incident, each a warning for those who will tread these trails after me. I glance at the stack of old journals, their coded notes of the weird mingled with routine logs, a careful dance to protect my sanity and career. With retirement looming, that caution falls away. Stretching my aching back, I prepare for bed, peering through the window at the dark pine shapes standing sentinel over the vast wilderness beyond. Tomorrow brings another patrol, another hike through trails I know intimately yet sometimes lead to strange places. Tonight, I've begun recording the truth, not for fame or belief, but as a guide and caution for those to come. As I turn off the lamp, Greg's voice echoes from memory. There are things about this wilderness that aren't in any handbook. He was right, and now I'm writing that handbook. The radio call came on a Tuesday noon in August 1993, pulling me from paperwork at the West Glacier Station. Linda, our daytime dispatcher, crackled through the static. "Dispatch to Walker. Come in." I grabbed my radio. "Walker here. Got a situation at campsite 14 near Lake McDonald. Campers reporting suspicious activity. Can you check it out? On my way. Any details? Family says someone's been watching their campsite at night. Sounds spooked." I gathered my gear and met Nate at the parking lot, his relaxed smile a contrast to my growing unease. August was peak season, and most calls were overreactions. Deer mistaken for intruders, raccoons pilfering coolers, or drunk campers stumbling into trouble. We bet on the cause. Nate favored a bear. I leaned toward inebriated neighbors. The 20-minute drive wound through tall pines and wildflower patches, Glacier's August beauty. Blue skies, mild temperatures, mountains aglow, making threats seem improbable. We found campsite 14 easily. A blue minivan with Illinois plates, a large family tent, a smaller one nearby, a picnic table with lunch remnants, and chairs around a well-built fire pit. Everything screamed normalcy. David Mitchell, late 30s, approached as we exited the truck, his wife Sarah lingering near the table with their children, Jason, 10, and Amy, 8. "Rangers Walker and Harris," I said, flashing my badge. "Heard you folks have been having trouble." David's handshake was firm but trembled slightly. "Thanks for coming so quickly." Nate pulled out his notebook. "Why don't you tell us what you've seen?" David glanced at his family. "We've been here 3 nights. First night, Sarah thought she saw someone at the campsite's edge, just watching. I checked with a flashlight, but no one was there. I figured it was her imagination." Sarah stepped forward, her voice steady but hands fidgeting. "But the second night, we all saw him. A man." "Him?" I asked. David nodded. Tall, in hiking clothes, he stood at the tree line watching, didn't move or speak. I called out, offered help, but he didn't respond. I noted the time. After dark, around 10 p.m., as the kids prepared for bed. He was there 15 minutes before vanishing into the trees. No sound, just gone. Did you see his face? Any distinguishing features? Nate asked. Sarah hugged herself. Too dark, just beyond our lantern light. But something about his stance, it wasn't right. I'd heard similar tales across parks. Wildlife, pranksters, or night-induced paranoia, but pressed on. What about last night? David's voice tightened. Same time, same watching, but he came closer. Sarah took the kids to the tent. I stayed out with a lantern and my pocket knife. He backed off eventually, and we called you this morning. The campsite was orderly, food stored, trash secured, ruling out carelessness. Any wildlife? Bears or mountain lions can feel like being watched, I suggested. Sarah's tone was firm. We know bears. This was a person. Neighbors. Nate gestured to nearby sites. Closest is 3 spots down. An older Montana couple. Friendly. I inspected the tree line, the hard-packed soil offering no footprints or disturbances. Back with Nate, David admitted. We're cutting our stay short. The kids are scared. We'll set up surveillance tonight, I promised. Go about your day normally. We'll be back before dark. As we returned to the truck, I whispered, What are you thinking? Nate scanned the forest. Poachers accessing the backcountry or a drug operation. They don't like witnesses. We staked out that night, positioning ourselves 50 yards apart with night vision. The family relaxed, cooking dinner and playing cards, their laughter fading as the kids bedded down. At 11:45 p.m., all was quiet save the fire's pops. By 1 a.m., David and Sarah retired, leaving silence. At 2:13 a.m., movement caught my eye. A tall, skinny man emerged from the trees, his hiking clothes ill-fitting, his motions jerky like a puppet with tangled strings. I radioed Nate. Southeast corner. Do you see him? I see him. What the hell is wrong with him? The man tilted his head unnaturally, staring at the tent. I approached, hand on my holster. Sir, this is Ranger Walker with the National Park Service. Identify yourself. He twisted toward me with mechanical speed, his face illuminated by dying embers. A huge, stiff smile revealing too many teeth, eyes oversized and unblinking, shining like a deer in headlights. Human, yet wrong, as if his features were a poorly fitted mask. My radio crackled. Tom, something's not right here. Nate's voice trembled. The man's head snapped to the radio, then back, his mouth clicking like a malfunctioning toy. Sir, hands where I can see them. State your business. I ordered, heart pounding. David's tent zipper scratched open, and the man's clicks accelerated, his body twitching violently. Stay in the tent, I barked. Nate joined me, flashlight trained. The man dropped to all fours, his spine bending impossibly, and bolted into the forest on hands and feet with animalistic speed. What the fuck? Nate gasped, chasing. I sprinted after, flashlight beam bouncing, catching glimpses of his flight. 3 minutes in, the sound stopped. The forest fell silent, no insects, no birds. We searched 20 minutes, finding no trace. The dogs later refused to track, whining and retreating. The Mitchells, wide-eyed by their rekindled fire, fled at dawn. Greg's grim directive for a 5-day search yielded nothing. Sarah's final whisper. There's something else. Amy saw a man with a big smile through the tent window the first night. Haunted me. My official report labeled him a suspected trespasser, possibly mentally ill. But my journal captured the truth. His movements, grin, clicks, and vanishings. Over years, similar reports piled up. Hikers watched, campers stalked, a maintenance worker's clicking encounter, all searches futile. Greg's warning echoed. If you see something that doesn't make sense, walk the other way. I hadn't listened, and the park's mysteries deepened. The summer of 2001 brought a different darkness. At the Swift Current Ranger Station, a blood-soaked man stumbled in, panic in his wide eyes. "Help! My friend, bear attack, Iceberg Lake Trail." I guided Jacob Turner to a chair. "Where are you hurt?" "Not me, Michael." I ran. No injuries marred him, odd given the blood. I radioed for backup, and Ryan Peterson and Jennifer Martinez joined. Jacob's hollow voice detailed a sudden bear attack Michael left behind. We hiked the trail, warning hikers, but found no witnesses. The scene: a body in dried blood, a grizzly 30 feet away, unraveled expectations. The bear, 400 pounds, retreated, scared, not aggressive. Blood patterns suggested a single-direction attack, not a struggle. Kneeling, I noted clean-edged wounds, knife wounds, not claws. Ryan found a blood-crusted hunting knife. Michael Reed's body bore defensive cuts, confirming murder. Jacob's fingerprints on the knife, his confession of a business dispute turned fatal, closed the case. His 30-year sentence followed. Human violence, though ugly, made sense: anger, greed, panic. Unlike the strange man, it fit a rational framework. Yet, the park's other enigmas, unexplainable, untouchable, cast longer shadows. In June 1995, Nate's discovery of a staircase in a clearing marked my first brush with the truly alien. "Just a staircase," he said, pale and shaken, describing wooden steps with a fancy handrail and carpet, standing alone. 3 weeks later, I found one near Ptarmigan Tunnel. 15 pristine steps leading to nothing, carpet unmarred by leaves, the ground flattened around it. Photos vanished from film, digital screens blank. Over years, Nate and I mapped sightings. Small clearings, new moons, miles from trails, electronics failing nearby. In 2004, rookie Daniel Cooper ignored our warnings, found a staircase, and died atop it, terror frozen on his face, no cause discernible. Protocols shifted, but the stairs persisted, doors to thin places, as Nate's later journal suggested. Emma Clark's 2008 drowning in Bowman Lake's shallows, a cold spot repelling fish, hinted at similar crossings. Nate's 2012 disappearance near Haystack, his journal revealing years of captivity, cemented the park's otherworldly threat. My 2017 encounter with the clicking man near Sperry Glacier, a cabin with photos of the taken, looped me back to the start. Exhausted, I escaped a fog-bound chase, emerging 15 miles off course. Kelly, my trainee, now carries the torch, armed with my records. As I retire, the wilderness waits, its mysteries unresolved. Can you brave these dark tales? Or do they stir a fear too deep to face? Reflect on whether this journey into the unknown suits your taste for true horror.